Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Like I told you in the last video, I wanted to practice a bit with the Ogre because I didn't play them that much in the past few months, and I need to prepare myself for the French Interregio, which is the big tournament that I have planned in towards the end of the year. And this time I found an opponent, Danish opponent again, Wesser, really nice to play against. It was a quick game, we didn't have much time, due to me not having much time at my disposal, but I think that's the most important, interesting part for me with UB, is the fact that you can also play a quick game, just to see on a macro level how it is looking like, if you made the right choice. And if you remark, in most of the games, basically the end of the game is more about following the flow and the mechanic, but you don't have that much multiple game plan and opportunities to take. I think that there is like logical play towards the end of a game, and there is not that much to analyze. So I rather play every 2 or 3 games, 1 game more, by playing only like 4 turns in most of my games, rather than playing a 3 full game, for example, just to give you an idea of what I mean. I prefer to do much more testing of deployment, game plan, and then the first few turns, the approach, and see how my game plan works, rather than playing a lot of 6 turns long games, which takes sometimes multiple days to complete. So this time I played something a bit different than last time. It's a Wild Earth approach. Basically you have the build, so I like my BSB to be cult leader because he's often quite central to give reroll to everybody, and I like him to be on the Tusker because it gives him a bit additional attacks. Problem is with cult leader you don't have a lot of options to pay offensive and defensive stuff for the guy, and basically you often end up with Iron Fist Death Cheater, which is only 5 strength 5 attack AP2, which is not that scary, can be dangerous to go alone against big units, so I don't like that much this build. And then if you want to go Troll Eater and so on, then you don't have Cult Leader. And for me, Cult Leader shine especially with a Wild Earth list because it gives you really a very, very big bubble with reroll to play safely within. So that was my idea. I wanted to try out with the Ogre Charm and no ward save on the BSB. That was also something a bit new for me, and the rest is quite classical. Another big change for me was the Pyromancy as a Shaman. I wanted to try something different from Thaumaturgy, thinking what annoys me with Wild Earth could be a lot of the small unit with poison shooting, for example. The shooting overall is problematic for the Giant and Rock. And then, yeah, all this kind of stuff. The chaff can be problematic, so you want to be good against chaff. And then the war machine are also a bit problematic against hunter, expensive hunter, and also the monster. So basically, I thought Pyromancy might be useful. And I also think if you play Wild Earth, you struggle sometimes against big unit. So that could help as well against infantry to reduce a little bit the size of the unit before you engage into combat. So that was something yeah, interesting enough for me to consider trying Pyromancy. And then the rest of the list you can see 2 times Giant with Great Weapon, 1 time with Iron Fist. My opponent played something interesting, something that you don't see very often for Sylvan Elves. Basically a big block of Forest Guard, 1 block of Rangers, 5 Kestrels, 9 Wild Huntsmen, and 2 times 10 East Rider. So basically 6 quite big units for Sylvan Elves. We are used to seeing some small unit. Here you see he has a lot of health points in each of the unit, and this is quite good because then if you face Pyromancy or some light shooting, war machines, organ gun and so on, you can also count on the fact that you have enough bodies to absorb the damage and then heal with Druidism, which I found interesting. Then he had the Fighty Prince on foot, Fighty BSB on Wild Huntsman option, so to say, on a horse, with magical resistance, so to be protected a little bit against Pyromancy, for example. We played Marching Column, King of the Hill. Here you have the spell selection. I decided to go with the 3 biggest one from Pyro, especially found interesting. Enveloping Embers to kill a bit of the bodies in the largest unit. Then Salvo is always good. and 2d6 always good as well. And then Firebrand, I have it in any case with the Fireball with Firebrand. And then the last spell, I decided this might cost me enough dice when I'm casting range damage, so I think it's more useful to take something for close combat. Yeah, my opponent decided to go with Summer Growth, Regen, and the Toughness boost, as well as the Hereditary spell from Sylvan Elves. Matchup analysis quite short because I didn't have much time to think about the battle before starting. That's also something interesting. You need to improvise to be quick. It was a quick game, so you don't have that much time to think, and this helps you also a bit to get automatism in the way you play, in the process of playing, trying not to make mistakes while being fast. So my short analysis, 2 solid combat blocks, which I need to reduce before engaging, because, for example, Rock going alone into Rangers means a dead Rock. Large unit, he can heal, it will be problematic to kill them entirely with fire, so it will be difficult to take really points from this list. He has also very good mobility with like 4 Vanguards, 4 units which are very, very mobile. I also have good mobility, so it's the same strengths in this sense, but I have to focus, I think, on the 2 big blocks because we are playing King of the Hill, so he might choose something to defend near his deployment zone and then be able to defend with the block while the rest of the army will be moving around trying to annoy me. So I think if I focus enough on the block, I should be able to get scenario and maybe kill 1 or 2 blocks, which are costing quite a bit of points. Okay, deployment. Marching column, I decided he chose the top part. I chose bottom part. Yeah, I had to take bottom part. And I decided to drop first. I put first Giant, Tribesman, and a Cat. He put first the 2 East Rider units and the Kestrel on the right. So at this point, I was like, okay, he has only 2 blocks. He chose this piece of terrain to defend. It was his own forest. I guess it was allowed. We checked quickly, but I think in the sequence after deployment, it was allowed to select his own forest, which I found quite kind of strong, if it's allowed, for Sylvan Elves. So basically, yeah, he had 3 units remaining. I assumed because of the forest he has to defend, it's very likely that the 2 block or a block and the Wild Huntsman will be somehow around the forest, and then 1 unit might be more central or completely to the flank. That was the assumption I made. So I was able to then drop everything to start the game. I wanted to cause damage with Pyro and to take some board control. So my drop was the following. I have the 2 guys in Scout, the 2 hunters. So I put on each part of the board more or less a Giant with great weapon. The one with Iron Fist more centrally, because with the parry might be interesting against the upcoming big block. I put also my Rock behind the Giant, not to be frenzy baited. And also I thought here there will be 1 block, so I think to have some monsters centrally it might be good. Since also my piece of terrain is the wall, I think my idea with the game plan was to be quite strong on the left and then to make kind of a block, to have some battle line in a diagonal way, more or less, then to use the hunter to move slowly behind, to go with Giant also to the side, and then to move slowly BSB towards the hill, and then also the mage a bit more like this, and then use my monster a bit to block, also having the chance to then combo charge between like BSB, Hunter, Giant, and maybe an Rock and something. That was a bit my game plan idea. And then towards the right part of the board, I put a Scouting Hunter and a Giant, deciding Giant might be interesting to slow down a bit this high mobility unit, which might be far away from BSB. And also with him, I mean, if he decides to go towards the middle where I have some space, then I should be able to go with the monster and the hunter behind his lines, which might be dangerous for him. So that was a bit the idea. Here you have the vision after Vanguards. So basically I had the option to put also a hunter here within 12 of the ranger, which were here more or less, and then move out of arc. But since he had Vanguard, he could always correct the position to not allow me to go around. So yeah, that was kind of difficult. And also with the remaining Vanguard, he was able to be a bit more aggressive and cover some flanks. Here he made sure I cannot move 14 and be out of arc, also out of arc here. And of course I have 2 Keen Eater in ambush. My turn 1, I move a bit around, so I use this Scouting Hunter to go on the flank. Of course, he can move 18, so I will not catch him. But basically, my idea was, try to cast, to throw a spear and then move towards center. Maybe, I think he's not that scary in combat. I'm not sure he has light lance or not, but if not, if it's only strength 3, I could have be more in the front to be closer to his lines than moving really to the side. Could have been more interesting. Or, for example, taking a position partially on the hill or something like that to threat a bit some of the rest of the units. But that was my idea. I didn't take much time to check the profile, and then I remark after the first couple of turns that he can shoot with them. He has Sylvan Bows, so he has the strength 4 in short range, which is quite annoying. And the giant moves slightly to the side. The rest of my battle line just moved forward as I've told you, so giant 14, BSB moves 8, and then my general go north to force him to look at the north part of the table, so to say. In Magic, I cast Enveloping Ember on the Ranger unit, dispelled by my opponent, then I cast 2d6 strength 4 on the Light Cavalry, and unfortunately for me, I rolled 222, which means 111. So it's a miscast with a non-cast spell, and then you don't fizzle, so it's kind of worst case. And then with the last spell, a Fireball, I was able to do 3 wounds to the Kestrel and kill one of his rider. And that was it for my turn 1, so not so effective. His turn 1, he moves forward with forming quite a strong battle line with 4 strong units with a lot of bodies within. And then he moved a bit around with the shooter to shoot here at short range of my giant, which is always a problem. I could have taken another position with him, maybe to cover the fact that he could move so close from me and then threaten the flank. And with the Wild Huntsman, he moved within the center to give BSB reroll and also to be a big threat because he can charge very far away. In the Magic, he failed the Oakenthron, cast a Swarm of Insect on the giant. I tried to dispel with 3 dice, he casted with 2 dice, but that I failed unfortunately. But I had some luck since he did 0 wound to me and he failed the Stone Skin. Then with shooting he did 1 wound to Rock and 1 wound to the giant, which is not so bad. I expected 1 wound more, so I wasn't unhappy to take a wound at this point of time. My turn 2 decided to try to be a bit aggressive. I know with the giant it's problematic because of the shooting, but I decided I need to threaten the Kestrel, so I tried to form kind of a trap, move forward with the tribesman to force frenzy check. Unfortunately, I wasn't too careful about the distance, trying to be quick, and I just was 1 inch too far away to force the discipline check. But yeah, that was the problem of playing sometimes a bit too quick. But basically, I made sure that if he charges, I can charge his fail charge, things like that, and to be out of arc with both Hunter. 1 Keen Eater comes on the board, try to threaten the back. And I move on the hill with the giant, having some good arcs. So here I think I have a good position with 180 threat zone, we can say, more or less. I'm all around his main unit, trying to threaten him. But yeah, that's a bit my idea at the moment. But as you can see, I still struggle really to engage with the big block because they are quite strong. They have a lot of numbers. Here he has a very fighty prince. Here the big block of rangers is quite problematic to fight because of the high strength, good AP. So it's not that easy. In the Magic, I cast a Scorching Salvo, kill 2 cavalry guys, 1 ranger, 1 spear. Also I was just short of the Kestrel, should have as well, trying to be a bit quick, was just a bit far away from the Kestrel, which was stupid. Then I tried to put 2d6 on the cavalry, strength 4, dispelled by my opponent, but I'm able to cast an Enveloping Embers and to kill 10 of the rangers, which was really good. And with the attribute, I'm able to kill another guy from the cavalry. With shooting, I'm able to kill 2 other guys from cavalry, and then to kill 1 spearman. So an interesting turn. This time I was able to be effective with range damage and to really reduce the threat from these 2 units, which was important to avoid him trying to push me a bit more. His turn 2, It turns a bit around, make sure that I cannot charge in the flanks and so on. Also with Skin Eater, it does that really well with the big block, chaffing me more or less. Could have taken better position maybe with Skin Eater to avoid that and the Hunter as well. But he makes that really well. Yeah, because with the footprint at the moment, even if I try to charge with the Hunter, he cannot close the door, so this will be problematic. And here with Skin Eater, I will need to wheel straight away, and then I will not be able to make contact with this unit. So well done from him with the block. And here he failed charge against my tribesman who fled out of the board. I passed the panic. And yeah, he failed charge right here. He moves around with his rider, try to shoot with 18 shot short range onto the giant, trying to kill me to avoid me charging him in the back. And that was it more or less. Yeah, he moved back with the Wild Huntsman, try to heal and to be a bit protected from the Pyro spell. In Magic, he failed the Oaken Throne again with 1 dice, cast a Summer Growth, rolled 666 and a 1, so had to take miscast number 6 with the mage, but fortunately for him only took 1 wound. This brought back 2 Kestrel Knights, and with the shoot he was able to one-shot the giant and kill him. And that was it for his turn, so not bad. My turn here, I have a couple of options. First option that I make was to charge, needing a 10 and forcing a terror on the Kestrel, because I cannot allow really the Kestrel to move within my line, to threaten my mage and so on. So I need to be a bit careful about what he does, because he could take some position or here move to the flank and force me to difficult decisions. So I decided to take the charge with the giant. He passed terror and then he decided to fled on my charge. What I could have done instead would have been to charge with the Hunter. He would have probably flee, end up right here, then charge with the giant, and or the opposite, but basically catch them with the giant or the Hunter. This would have mean, for example, the Hunter ended up here more or less. Then of course the Kestrel can charge me, so either I have a good flee corridor, then I can flee, and if not, I mean, if I catch them and then he can charge me and kill the Hunter. Interesting thing is the Kestrel would be a bit on this side of the board and far away from the block. This would leave me with an opportunity to really push for the block with all these threats, and I think I have enough power to probably kill him completely, or try to really take that down and basically, yeah, leave the cavalry on the right. So this could have been a bait, kind of sacrificial move. Not 100% sure it could have been the right decision, but still kind of interesting. So what I made for decision was to charge. He fled, ended up here. I decided to move around with the Hunter, try to be able to charge him again, but I forgot a bit that he can feign flight, so he can move again and so on. So yeah, basically it's also a good way to threaten the back of the Rangers. I move around, so Skin Eater moves here to threaten back, move them both to the side, out of arc of the big block. I prepare the scoring unit to be able to go within his zone slowly. And yeah, move forward with the rock. So of course, I mean, I could have covered a bit more the flank to avoid him going to my flank. But I wanted to be able, I know this will be a quick game, not too many turns. I wanted to have a shot as charging the Rangers or trying something in the coming turn. That was a little bit my idea. In Magic, I roll a Scorching Salvo, kill 2 cavalry guys, 3 rangers, and more or less that was it. With shooting, I put 1 wound to the BSB. I shot with this guy, and he made 2 save with the Wild Huntsman guys. And that's it. So, yeah, and I kill also 1 of the rangers. I don't remember with what, to be honest. With some shooting, probably from the orc. Let's move on to his turn 3. So he decided to move back slightly with the Rangers, and he moves everybody to the side. Basically, we discussed that we were only going to play 4 turns. So yeah, basically position himself. If I fail charge with the rock, he can counter charge me, and again, he has 2 units in short range of the giant, which is bad. And here you see that I made a wrong decision of charging and going this way. I think it was either I should have been able maybe to find a better position with the rock, or stay in place, just try to shift a bit, get a good position, and still protect my flank to avoid him going here, shoot me within short range. This was again a mistake. Yeah, here I reposition again my guy. No, sorry, it's his turn. He moves a bit back out of my arc, move back, turn around to be in the front. This leaves me with a front charge with these two guys and here the flank, but still a bit scary. I don't like that much the odds of fighting this block. I don't know if I can kill him. Of course, I can attack a little bit the mage and so on, but I'm facing a challenge against the prince. I'm facing possible counter charge. I don't know. I have a couple of options to consider for turn 4. Yeah, his magic phase, I think, did I talk about that? Not yet. So he cast a no control, and then he tried Summer Growth, dispelled. The regen on the Spearman was cast, which is quite something that leaves me with the idea of, yeah, charge. This combo charge is not that juicy anymore if he has regen 4+ especially. And then he tries +1 strength, but he fails. With shooting, he's able to one-shot the other giant, which is bad news, but I'm punished for my mistakes. And let's move on to turn 4. So here, interesting idea. I considered the option of charging with the giant on the flank of the ranger and them closing the door, but this wasn't possible due to the Keen Eater. But I didn't consider the option, which I think was by far the most interesting option, of charging Keen Eater in the flank. This then leaves me with the option of charging the giant here, and then he can close the door this way. So I think no problem, it's less than 90 degrees, he can fit. So this would have been for me the best charge, I think, here, giant going here. And being in the flank of the rangers, so only facing one ranger, probably I cannot maximize that much, maybe 2. I don't know, depends on how he closes the door, but maybe only 1 or 2 rangers, which is not that much, and this leaves me with a good giant who can attack, stomp, impact, so probably deal with this unit on his own. And Keen Eater going to the flank, I mean, characters are like here and here, I would say. So no character against Keen Eater, I have a good chance, I'm unbreakable, so I will stick him in place. And then I can just reform a bit to the north to avoid probably the Kestrel Knight charging me. I'm not sure it was possible, but in any case, I think that was the best option. What I did instead was taking a double charge from Hunter in the back, Hunter in the front, and then Keen Eater chaffing the Wild Huntsman, and just moving these guys a bit out because I didn't find a good option to charge. So I succeed in the 11 roll for the BSB, and here it was auto, so I was quite happy, and the rest just move away, and these guys move in the forest to score the objective. I will not change the slide because I don't have a picture, I just have the final picture. I will just tell you first magic. I put 2d6 on the Wild Huntsman, dispelled by my opponent, and in close combat the rangers kill my BSB, and the guy in the back only did a couple of wounds. I did only 2 wounds total, I think, and he kills the BSB. So then he reforms that way, and that's the after movement of his turn 4. He charged the Keen Eater. There was no overrun possible, that's what we checked together. And the rest he moves around to shoot at the scoring unit. So I have no BSB anymore, which is quite scary, because if he force panic check on a 9 and if I fail, I will lose. I will not win scenario. My Keen Eater comes on the board to give no points, and that's the rest of my movement. In his magic phase, he cast an hereditary to help a bit the... I don't remember who. I guess the Wild Huntsman. Tries +1 strength on the ranger, I dispel. With shooting, he put 2 wounds to the tribesman, so not enough. And in close combat with 10 attacks, he's able to one-shot the hunter, kill him. This force panic check on a 9 on the general, who fails, and run this way, and he killed the Keen Eater. So, an horror. Only with 9 rangers, he was able to kill BSB, hunter, and make flee the general, which is 1,300 points. Quite unexpected, funnily. And we ended up the game like this. So counting points, basically I took nothing at all because of the remaining bodies. It took quite a lot of things for me. Half the general, BSB, so +200, which is 705, which is very expensive. complete hunter, 1 unit of tribesmen, 2 giant because of my stupidity of not managing properly the fact that he can come on short range and shoot at me, and 1 keen eater giving us chaff. And I think if you consider the option that I just mentioned, charging keen eater in the flank, charging giant in the flank, I would have most likely lost a giant, killed a ranger, lost a keen eater, and still win scenario and lose no hunter at all. Not bad, huh? I mean, not bad. I think I would have ended up much closer to 10-10 than getting this small loss. So this could have been much better for me, especially if you consider also the fact of playing a bit better with Worker Rock and the giant on the lowest part of the board. Then maybe I could have avoided losing another giant on the back. I think I didn't play well with the Worker Rock. Of course, Worker Rock also need time to be in a good position, but I wasn't able really to profit from what I did on the left part of the board to really be aggressive with him. So I'm not sure I moved him pretty well. I didn't block as well, the right part of the board. So not so happy about how I played with the central part of the board of my line. So yeah, like I said, I think there was a couple of safer approach. There was also the option of sending keen eater in the back of the rangers and then the hunter move and shoot at the BSB. Of course, high likelihood of killing him with the 2+2+, basically with the hunting spear. He has no save at all. And then save all the points from the hunter. But I think even a better move would have been to keen eater in the flank of the big block and giant in the flank of the rangers. Would have been the best move for me. Problem in this matchup, I think the pyro had to take care of too much things, and I wasn't able really. I needed to kill some of the bodies in the big block to be able to move forward and get onto this forest to take scenario. So that was kind of mandatory for me. But at the same time, this was somehow difficult to also kill some of the shooters, which was problematic for my giant. So I had some difficult choice to make. I was sometimes not perfect with my movement, 2 times failing within an inch, 1 time for the magic spell against Kestrel Knights, and 1 time for the frenzy bait situation. So 2 small mistakes, which could have been better. And of course, yeah, we played both with our strengths, mobility. I clearly underestimated the short range damage output of the East Rider. I forgot that I don't know if I think I had the light cavalry option, yeah, with the bows. I forgot the fact that they had bows. They are so killy with the shooting attacks, so I completely forgot that. And when I remarked that, I didn't make the right decision. So yeah, not so smart for me. And also the fact that Rangers are quite good. They are strength 5, AP 4 with Rending Banner, which is... when he told me that, BSB, I was able to cast... I forgot to tell you, I was able to cast -1 to wound on the BSB. So I was with virtually toughness 6, weapon skill 5, 2+ armor save with 1 reroll. So not too bad. But still was able to cause a lot of wounds, and with AP 4 I have only a 6-up armor save. So not enough to survive. I wasn't able to attack, and then he just killed me straight away. And also in the big block, the solid character, I mean, I didn't fancy that much the challenge between my general and his prince, because yeah, he has 1 armor save. I have only AP2, so I will never do something to him. He's not bad with all his attacks, so I might die, especially since I cannot stomp. So yeah, since I wasn't able to bring other monsters to support enough to kill the big block before he kills my general, I think it was too scary to go into this combat. So yeah, that was it. Thanks a lot, Wrestler, for the fight. It was really interesting. Quite unexpected still to kill these 2 hunters with we agreed to that with the 9 rangers, but still they were really good. And I think I made not the safest decision going into this combo charge. I could have done a better choice towards the end of the game. And I think that's what I need to keep in mind. But this was interesting to play such a quick game, to be really fast in the decision-making process options and not take too much time. And of course, when you analyze the screenshot, then you see, oh, could have done that, could have done that, could have done that. That's a classic. I think the fastest you play, the less option you will consider. So you need to really take time during your opponent's turn to think about the options and be sure that you can be fast on your turns. And that's something I need to continue to work on. Okay, guys. That was all for this battle report. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, leave comments if you have some on the battle or some options that I didn't consider. I always like to talk about all the possible options, and we all know that with Wild Heart you have a lot of charging options, combination options, chaffing, and so on. Thanks a lot for watching. Talk to you soon on my channel. Bye bye.